The average sales leader stays in their role for 17, 18 months is, the typical tenure. So they don't have very many quarters to prove themselves, and one or two bad quarters and that's it. You can be done. Like if you miss your forecast too much, if you're not accurate, you can be done. So it's so important for the sales leader to be able to accurately predict where the business is going to land. What's really funny, and something I've noticed across just about every company, everyone just ends up doing this in Excel. So every sales manager, every VP of sales has an Excel spreadsheet where they're actually doing a lot of this forecasting and tracking, which is hilarious because they don't even trust the CRM data. Salespeople hate being chased for things like CRM hygiene so much because it is fundamentally for the organization and less for the rep. If you think about how like CRMs were designed, even, they were not designed for the sales rep. They were designed for the organization. And then I think there's the third piece, which is organizations don't often do a good enough job to translate to the sales reps why it's so important to fill in CRM and how it can actually help them in their role. As a salesperson, I get it, and I get why it's so painful to do. I'd always ask them, when I would speak to sales reps about this, though, to empathize with their sales manager. They're having to forecast a number that their job is tied to. I've seen, Series B companies who forecasted, X and then hit Y, and the difference between those numbers was so vast that it impacted fundraising, for example. I've seen teams laid off for forecast misses. So it has serious consequences. You need good data in order to make good decisions. And with this new technology that's come along, AI, it's meant that some of these things are much more solvable than they ever have been. Most conversations in 2026 are being recorded, so there's a lot of really valuable data in there. And for example, Taylor, our AI agent, she's running workflows looking for, how are salespeople performing in their conversations and across their sales opportunities? Where are they winning? Where are they losing? If you're losing a lot of deals between sort of demo and proposal stage, it's probably because discovery wasn't very good. And the way you can figure that out is AI solutions like ours that can point out how well are your teams asking questions of customers earlier on in the process. So that's a really simple example of identifying a capability gap. And then if you can address that, you can very quickly start to see improvements.